No movement in the Kaspa chart. Is anything even happening anymore? What are the bullish topics and what's currently going on with Kaspa? A new update video. Hey, welcome to Crypto Owl. I know I'm not consistent, but I actually try to make at least one Kaspa video every month, and if there's something urgent and new, I'll also check in with at least a short video in between. Yeah, and because of vacation, July ended up being a bit too short for a video. So yes, I have to catch up on something. I know you always ask for it, and I really enjoy doing it too. And yes, let's take a look at what's new with the internet speed proof for work chains. At least that's how Google translated this post from Kaspa Unchained, as they're now called, on X. Internet speed proof of work rails. Let's start with the price update and, well, how should I put it? Basically, not much is happening with the price. I already told you back in May that this zone, around here, somewhere in this area, we're looking at the daily chart here. I made a video here and said that this zone between 11.5 cents and 12 cents is a really important area. And just look at what happened. We fell out of this zone, dropped down. Basically, we fell out of this zone overall. Yeah, we could even go a bit lower if this were to go away. Exactly. We dropped almost 50% out of this zone. And then from this zone, or rather from these 50% down, we went back up into this zone with a 91.7% move. You could have doubled your money here. At the very peak, if you had sold at the top, so from the low to the high, it would have been 98%. So it would have paid off if you had bought in this area around 6, or rather between 6 cents and 6.5 cents or 6.7, somewhere in this range. That was about 3 days, or let's say 2 days spread over 3 days, during which you could have bought in here. Some people did exactly that. As a result, we saw green candles here and once again a positive registration channel, even leading to bullish news about the smart contracts. You might remember the whole thing was announced, we'll get to that in a moment, and then it moved back into this zone. It tested upwards but then dropped back down again. So this zone will be very, very important if we want to keep rising. We know that we were up in this zone before. We even broke through all the way up to this 15-cent zone, and then we briefly climbed above 20 cents, but unfortunately, it wasn't sustainable yet. The future will show us whether things will stay this way and whether there will be lasting support above 20 cents. The Kaspa chart remains exciting. From a volume perspective, it's very interesting to observe right now because I think you might also know 1 or 2 people who trade or hold Kaspa. And it's a bit strange at the moment because a lot is happening on Gate.io. Almost 36% of the volume. What's going on there? Are that many people really buying on Gate.io right now? Kaspa? Interesting. Maxime with 9% and Bybit at around 7.5%. And otherwise, yeah, the others are also participating a bit. There are now an extremely large number of exchanges. Let's set it to 100 here, then we can see there are a lot of exchanges at the moment. Even smaller ones with there are so many small ones here that their volume isn't even being tracked yet. But there are also smaller exchanges here like OKEx, which we now also have in our exchange comparison with almost 1.8%. So we can see here Kaspa Coin W is being traded on many more exchanges, and that's the positive thing about being listed on so many exchanges. Many of them are based in certain countries, and that allows you to target specific regions differently. If they have the licenses there and are based there, and maybe even use the local currency or the region's currency for trading, then you can also generate volume there, for example, here in the Kaspa chart or in Kaspa trading. But yes, high volume doesn't always mean just buying. So it's not always goes up, but of course also sales to the downside or short and long trades, which naturally move the price up and down, just as we're seeing right now. There isn't a Satoshi Nakamoto topic with Kaspa. Here there's Jonathan Sampolinsky, who is the author of the Ghostag protocol, and he is known. In this case, he is the founder. Yes, he is the protocol author, together with others. And with Bitcoin, it's not known who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but there was vandalism here, and this was around the all-time high, or rather the new all-time high. In Lugano, there's this Satoshi statue. It was broken off and then thrown into Lake Lugano, so not a nice thing. A case of vandalism. And you can't just get rid of the Kaspa founder, Jonathan Sampolinsky, like that. That's not possible. So it's also very important here that the founder is known. Yes, and when we talk about the price, there are always the most amazing and exciting predictions. If you just go to BX and type in KAS, you'll immediately find these kinds of chart images. Here there's a higher low, and that's why we have to break out now and so on. So don't let that influence your investment decisions or your decision about where to put your money or whether you should buy Kaspa now or wait a bit longer. Don't let yourself be influenced by that. There are a ton of these, and in the end, many just want to push their own investment. But we have to be honest. If you truly believe in a cryptocurrency for the long term, and for example, say that Kaspa has a good long term chance, and of course, a strong presence, then invest in Kaspa for the long term, and you don't have to care where the price is right now. I think with Bitcoin, the Bitcoiners also recommend DCA, that is a savings plan by daily, monthly, or weekly, whatever fits your portfolio or your wallet. That approach is also worthwhile with Kaspa. One quick note. On September 13th, there will be an event in Berlin all about Kaspa called the Kaspa Experience 2025. Berlin is about a 6 to 7 hour train ride from me, assuming there are no delays. But I also really want to attend this event. I've already got everything sorted. Tickets, hotel, I'm ready to go. So the Kaspa Experience. Unfortunately, each ticket costs 150 euros. Wow. But it does start in the morning, so it should be quite interesting. And there's $75 cash back in Kaspa. So if you pay in Kaspa, you only pay the equivalent of 75 or about half. But since the dollar is currently worth more than the euro, it might even be less than 50%. Could be worth it. I'm definitely going to be there. September 13th in Berlin. I've already asked in the Kaspa community. There are a few people going. I'm really curious to see what else we'll experience there. And as we can see here, there are also a few partners involved. And yes, we can be very curious to see who will be performing there. I'll be there, so feel free to check it all out. You'll find the links for it in the video description. Maybe you'll be in Berlin on September 13th. It's a Saturday, spending the whole day at this Kaspa event. I know I will be. An interesting post from yesterday caught my attention, and you really have to wonder, did someone feed the AI well, or did the AI just figure it out on its own? So, someone went ahead and simply asked ChatGPT, listen, I'd like to invest in Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and Kaspa. Which of these are the most decentralized, have the highest TPS, the largest community, and so on? Just a few questions like that, and this is what came out. And that really is a fascinating topic. So I asked ChatGPT to take a closer look at Kaspa and then create a diagram comparing its infrastructure with Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. This was done under the premise of smart contracts up to August 31st. We'll get back to that in a moment, and this is what came out of it. This has been shared very often, and it's really, really exciting. Solana performed very poorly in many areas, especially when it comes to decentralization. Then smart contracts. Yes, we know it works. TPS, of course, no question about it. Layer 2 compatibility. Naturally, you'd think Ethereum would be way ahead there. But no, even the AI, or in this case ChatGPT, says that Kaspa is actually a bit better. Decentralization. Clearly, Bitcoin in orange is way ahead, but according to ChatGPT, Kaspa is even further ahead here. And when it comes to smart contracts, it's also close to Ethereum. And in terms of security, it's also very close to Bitcoin, although of course Bitcoin is always considered the most secure and decentralized network, as it calls itself, or rather as Bitcoiners call it, leading by a wide margin. But Kaspa isn't really far behind in any of these areas, including TPS. Everything is basically an 8. Here, that's an 8. Here, there are even 2 10s, and otherwise it's always an 8. So you really have to say this is a very interesting diagram that came out here, and it actually shows that in many aspects. If you approach things from a technological, community, and decentralized perspective, then to be honest, Kaspa is in a very, very good position here. And that's convincing, or rather, in the end, it's just an AI. But this whole thing is being shared with the world, this image, and it shows that there's truly a major project right before our eyes, and many people still haven't understood what Kaspa actually is. Especially the Bitcoiners say, we don't need a new Bitcoin. We have our own Bitcoin. But in the end, you really should take a look at this project, this proof of work block deck, with its innovative Ghost DAG protocol, which continues to be developed. And partners like Tangem are moving forward as well, saying, for example, that with Mercury, you can now easily buy Kaspa with fiat. So Tangem is also giving Kaspa a bit of a push here. Speaking of Tangem, there's currently a 15% discount. With the code CryptoYule, you always get 10% off. And with the code FRIENDS, which is a special promotion, you get an additional 5% on top. So that's 15% off when you buy from Tangem, whether it's a card or a ring. 15% is always worth it. And there's still the Kaspa wallet here in the special Kaspa edition. If you go to the Friends code, unfortunately doesn't work. I've already tried it myself. It says it doesn't work. Shame. Hello? What's that about? The code should actually work there too. But the beautiful Kaspa wallet is also available here. Now, about exchanges, it's always a big topic, and we still keep asking ourselves, is Wallet 2 really? We'll get back to this wallet in a moment. And Crypto.com, they're also doing something weird. On August 6th, so yesterday as well, they published this picture here with the green line. Now, you might say it's just a chart image, but of course it got a lot of people in the Kaspa community stirred up saying, look, that's Kaspa's color. That's Kaspa green. Yeah, do we see something here? And Swissborg also had a significant community voting event, and in that particular event, Kaspa clearly won. So Swissborg promptly went ahead and officially listed Kaspa. You can now buy Kaspa. It's now live in the Swissborg app, which is really cool. Kaspa is now available there too because the community pushed for it. And that's what I always say. Community is a really, really important topic. And another exchange that's been talked about for a long time because they also make strange announcements with their weird green wallet images was OKEx, or rather, it's still OKEx. And on July 28th, they put out another info tweet, or rather an info article about the revolutionary speed and scalability of the Ghost DAG technology with the Kaspa blockchain or Casper blockchain. I know, I'm always supposed to say block DAG as well. So it's really interesting what's happening here. And this just shows that probably a lot of exchanges are still waiting in the pipeline and will list Kaspa here. So we can be very curious about what's still to come. Many are hoping for Coinbase, OKEx, but of course also Binance. These three names are still missing here, and that's something to really look forward to. At least OKEx is here with an article, and Crypto.com is also still missing, the one with that weird green candle. Although that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be Kaspa. And if you're saying now that you want to buy Kaspa already, then go ahead and do it with my partner CoinX. CoinX currently has a cool promotion. Sign up using my link and you'll get 10% cashback on your first deposit. If you deposit $1,000, you'll get $100 in cashback. That will be credited after 5 business days. Very important. You can easily buy here via third-party trading. At least exchange euros for USDT and then swap. Just as you're used to on an exchange, you can swap all their 1,000 cryptocurrencies back and forth. You can see the most popular swap pairs, and of course, you can easily buy on the spot market here, KAS in this case, and over 2,100 other cryptocurrencies on CoinX. If you sign up, you'll get 10% cashback and your first 5 trades are fee-free. You'll get those fees refunded as well. That's CoinX with their current promotion exclusively for the Crypto Yule community. So sign up, right now it's worth doing a bit of trading. And if you're interested in other exchanges, we've compared 14 exchanges with each other. You can find that in our exchange comparison. There, you can easily check out the pros and cons of all the exchanges. You'll find the link to it in the video description or at cryptoyule.com. The topic of blockchain activity, or rather the community's activity, is always a big issue, and there's something very interesting about the Kaspa community. There are a lot of hodlers, just like you see with Bitcoin. With other cryptocurrencies, you often see coins being moved back and forth all the time. For example, if we think of XRP, even the founders are selling and they do it repeatedly. That's not the case with Kaspa, at least if you believe the data. 14% of the current supply hasn't moved in over 2 years. You really have to think about that. So for over 2 years, 14% of all available Kaspa hasn't been moved. They're just sitting there, so they're hodlers. And that's certainly interesting, but the price isn't really moving the way many hodlers expect, because a lot of them have already been counting on a price of 25 to 30 cents. And I know there are a lot of dreamers and a lot of crazy people during a top bull run who say it should have hit $1 by now. But just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't, though I tend to hold back on price predictions these days anyway. Looking at the top wallets, it's still the case that Wallet 2, like I just mentioned, Wallet 2 is Binance. Maxi holds the most, but that's also where the most is being withdrawn. Still the big topic, does Maxi influence the Kaspa price? Many are withdrawing their KAS here, and Wallet 2 could soon overtake Maxi because they keep accumulating. Another 14 million KAS have been added here in the last 24 hours. It's incredible what's happening there. So $1.245 million have been added. That's insane. Wallet number 2 alone holds 3.2% of the total supply, and as we can see here, wallet number 2 has been buying up a lot again. We can see it here. The 7th, 8th, 7th, 8th, 31st, and the last time was the 7th. So they just keep buying more and more. In the end, is it Binance, and are they thinking, look, only when we overtake Maxi will we list KS? It remains exciting. There are always more articles and speculations, and this wallet number 2 is either a huge investor or really an exchange, and in the end, maybe it's not even Binance, but another big exchange like Coinbase, Cryptocom, or maybe even OKEx. It remains exciting. Mysterious wallet number 2. The sentiment, or rather the community mood, is actually very good with Kaspa, and that's what's interesting about this whole thing. If we take a look at the sentiment, or rather the mood, the community mood, which is regularly surveyed on sites like CoinMarketCap, it is actually very positive at the moment, even if there might not be much happening in the charts. But many people are bullish on Kaspa because, of course, something is still coming up soon. We'll get to that at the end of the video, at the end of August. but currently the price is not where the sentiment is. Blue represents the community sentiment, or what you hear from the community, and orange is the price. The price does not reflect the community sentiment. And if we look again at CoinMarketCap, the sentiment in the crypto community, Kaspa is currently in 5th place. They have also been much higher before. They were even in 1st place for a long time, but a lot of people just vote here. For example, XRP was also well represented here for a long time, but currently it's not even in the top 10 anymore. Yes, the most pessimistic sentiment right now is for Trump, because nothing else is happening there and the price just keeps falling. Well, especially with the new decree. But overall, things actually look good in terms of community sentiment, and Kaspa is basically always, every time I check here, Kaspa is in the top 10. So keep voting on CoinMarketCap and say, bullish, 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 then it will continue to stay up there. Although I think that not many people are actually watching this list, except for me, for you in these videos. Now, at the end of the video, all that's left for me to say is that something very positive and big is coming up: smart contracts. The whole thing is scheduled for August 31st, 2025. We'll keep an eye on it. We're all very excited. Will they come? There are still a lot of tokens around Kaspa, or rather the ERC20 tokens, the KRC20 tokens, of course, that exist here. And there are still quite a few of them with relatively good volume, considering that not much is happening on the Kaspa blockchain at the moment. And of course, it's interesting to observe, and these could become more interesting through smart contracts, or rather, they would have to be rewritten via smart contracts. Currently, it's just a kind of test phase for these smart contracts. It works. Many tokens are also listed on exchanges. For example, CoinX is very active when it comes to listing KRC20 tokens. But with this smart contract, or rather this new update, more projects, tokens, and applications can come directly to the Kaspa blockchain using this smart contract via a layer 2. Very important, they do not come directly onto the Go stack, but instead go through a layer 2. But at least they are already operating on Kaspa's Go stack, even if it's just on layer 2 for now. Although in the end, just leave the Kaspa Go stack as it is and let layer 2 handle everything. That works quite well for companies too, even if there are sometimes issues with layer 2 like Base, which was simply offline for 37 minutes. Yes, it's all complicated. This whole topic of layer 2, decentralization, and so on. But it's definitely exciting to see what will happen with the smart contracts. A very bullish and positive event for the Kaspa community. And at the end of the video, a question for you: how are you feeling right now? Kaspa, what do you think? Is there still more to come? Just write in the comments. How are you feeling at the moment? What are your thoughts maybe? Where do you think the price is headed? Are we going to see a bull run in 2025 for the yearly cycle? Remember, 2017, 2021, 2025. And can Kaspa benefit from that? Will we really see it hit $1? What do you think about that? I'm going to stay a bit more pessimistic and say 50 cents by the end of the year would already be a dream, right? Go ahead and write your thoughts in the comments. Remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Kaspa updates. If you keep supporting this, then I'll remember and take the time to make another Kaspa video. As you can see, it's another 20 minutes just for Kaspa, but I really enjoy doing that in that sense. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.